train that left 3 people dead and a dozen more injured.
It's a beautiful day outside, and it's going to stay that way with warm temperatures on the way. The latest from Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, Missouri Governor Mike Parson signing a bill to exempt taxes from FIFA World Cup ticket sales.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Jalen Banks. The January 6th committee is holding a special hearing right now, which you can go see over at our sister station, Fox 14. At noon today, the city of Joplin has announced they've hired a new assistant manager. The city manager, Nick Edwards, announced that Tony Robin will be taking the position. Robin previously worked for the city. He's held other leadership positions in the community, which Edwards says makes him an asset to the city. Robin will move into his role Monday, July 18th. The Missouri Department of Conservation is offering managed deer hunts starting this Friday. Deer hunters can apply online through the MDC's website for a shot at more than 100 managed deer hunts throughout the state this year. Some of the hunts are specifically held for youth or people with disabilities. The application period is July 1st through July 31st. Hunters are selected by a weighted random drawing. The results will be available from August 15th through January 15th. The latest now on a train derailment in northern Missouri. Dramatic video taken from inside the train shows stunned passengers after 7 of the Amtrak train cars flipped onto its sides. At least 3 people were killed and more than 40 hurt. With more on what caused the crash, Taylor Johnson with our Kansas City affiliate KCTV is near the scene.
It happened.
A barefoot passenger stepped on glass windows while attempting to gain their footing inside one of the cars of the Amtrak train that had been tossed on its side.
Train derailment, multiple injuries, 1 female under the train at this time.
The crash occurred at 12:42 in the afternoon.
We hit a truck. Someone was crossing.
8 cars and 2 locomotives of Amtrak's Southwest Chief Train 4 were carrying at least 207 passengers and 12 crew members from Los Angeles to Chicago.
We were in rural Missouri.
Ron Goulet was a passenger heading to Chicago for a connecting departure.
I felt an impact. The car was turning on its side and people were flying in all directions.
Officials say the train collided with a dump truck that was stopped at a crossing, killing 1 person in the truck and at least 2 train passengers. Oh. Cell phone video from the interior shows passengers scrambling for their belongings after the crash.
When I turned back later, it had been completely crushed. It was kind of terrifying realizing just how close I was to not being here right now.
At least 40 other passengers were injured, several airlifted to area hospitals. Former NTSB chair and CBS News analyst Robert Sumwalt.
Amtrak does now have outward-facing video cameras as well as inward-facing video cameras. They will be able to see the truck and see at what point it enters the tracks.
Amtrak says it fully supports the NTSB's investigation, and they say they're going to have a 16-person team out here today investigating the site of that derailment. But this is the second crash involving an Amtrak train in just the last few days. On Sunday, a train crashed into a car that was carrying 5 people. 3 people were killed and 2 were taken to the hospital. Taylor Johnson, CBS News, Minden, Missouri.
Well, the sun is out and shining, but it hasn't been as warm as it's been over the past few weeks. Chris, what do you have for us?
I have bad news if you don't like the warmer weather. I have good news if you do like summertime, because summertime is going to make a return. Today, though, as you can see outside, 7th and Range Line, look at how pretty it is. Not a cloud in the sky as compared to this morning when we had several clouds. 82 is where we are sitting right now, and we are all sitting in the upper 70s to lower 80s across the area. I want to show you the regional view because what's going to ultimately happen is a ridge is going to build in. We're going to start to see a lot more heat. Skywatch Storm Tracker showing us absolutely nothing out there. If you zoom out a little bit, still really not much to see, unfortunately. So here's what I want to go over with you, what we are tracking over the next several days. We're going to have another nice day today. It's not going to be too hot, not too muggy. It's going to warm up. About 86 is where we're going to make it. But then A ridge of high pressure coming out of the desert southwest is going to make its way up here, and that's what this line's about. Heat and humidity returning this week, you better believe it. However, with the heat and humidity, rain and storm chances also increasing. We do have some rain chances going into the weekend and into the holiday, unfortunately. We'll break down what the holiday forecast looks like and what the weekend is going to look like here in just a little bit.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Missouri Governor Mike Parson has signed a bill that will exempt FIFA World Cup tickets from sales tax when the games are played in Kansas City in 2026. Last week's announcement that Kansas City would host some of the games was met with cheers in the city. FIFA officials required tax breaks from cities hoping to host the games. Democratic State Senator John Rizzo from the Kansas City region said estimates are the game could bring more than $600 million in revenue to the state. A new study shows gun deaths in Oklahoma have increased since a permitless carry law went into effect. The 2019 law allows people over the age of 21 to carry a gun without a permit or training. The newspaper The Oklahoman analyzed state medical examiner data and found the state recorded some of its deadliest months in history since the law took effect. In the decade before permitless carry, only 10 months had 70 or more firearm deaths. From November 2019 until January, there were 10 months with more than 70 gun-related deaths. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon.
The Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol schedules a surprise hearing. I'm Natalie Brandt with who has been called to testify.
And later we're making all-star zucchini in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Crews removed the old transmitter from the top of our tower. For now, we're broadcasting from a temporary transmitter lower on the tower as we prepare to put the new, more powerful transmitter at the top. Our signal might be a little glitchy for some of you for the time being, but when this project is finished, we'll be broadcasting with more power than ever. Check out the progress anytime on our website on KOAMnewsnow.com/morepower. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol scheduled a surprise hearing today. Natalie Brand has more details from Capitol Hill.
Adding a new unexpected hearing to the schedule, the House Select Committee investigating January 6th says it has new evidence to share. CBS News has learned the committee plans to call Cassidy Hutchinson to testify. Hutchinson was an executive assistant for White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. The committee has already played some of her testimony from a closed-door deposition where she revealed some members of Congress sought pardons from President Trump for their roles in fighting to overturn the election results.
Mr. Gates and Mr. Brooks, I know, have both advocated for there be a blanket pardon for members involved in that meeting and a handful of other members that weren't at the December 21st meeting.
While Congress conducts its January 6th investigation, the U.S. Justice Department is also continuing to look into potential crimes surrounding the events of that day. New court filings show the FBI seized a cell phone from conservative attorney John Eastman as he was leaving a New Mexico restaurant last Wednesday.
It authorizes them to seize my phone and all the information contained in the phone. But there's no indication of any crime that this is connected to.
The Select Committee says Eastman authored an illegal plot to replace electors that President Biden had won in key battleground states with electors loyal to Trump and stop the certification of the 2020 electoral votes on January 6th. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The same day the FBI seized Eastman's phone, they also conducted a raid on the home of Jeffrey Clark, a former Justice Department official who President Trump sought to appoint as acting Attorney General because he was open to declaring the election results invalid in some key states. Still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
This time of year, zucchini is here, there, it's practically everywhere. And today, it's the star of our side dish that's perfect for this time of year. Just wait until you see what it is.
But first, Chris Warner returns with your complete forecast.
We have a beautiful day in store for you across the 4 states before we see temperatures start to rise and then, of course, some rain chances coming in. What Jalen was alluding to earlier is our More Power project. You can take a look here. This is a live look with our KOAM More Power Tower Cam brought to you by R.E. Smith Construction. I wanted to point this out real quick. Right here, this is part of our new transmitter that's going to bring you a better, more enhanced, more powerful signal, and it has been very slowly making its way to the top of this thing. And then they've got one more they got to toss up there. So that's why signal's a little glitchy and all that, because right now we're on a lower power one, which you can barely see, but it's right here. So it's not as strong as our original one, but this one, it's going to be fantastic. 7th and Range line, it is nice and sunny. We did see some clouds earlier this morning, but they have since gone away, and that's left us with this absolutely beautiful day. Right now, 82 is where we are sitting. In fact, we may actually go a pinch bit warmer. Now, we have a feels like of 81 just because the dew point and humidity are so low. So that's why right now, even though it's 81, it's a pleasant 81, and that's where most of us are sitting. We've got upper 70s, most of us sitting right around 80 degrees. Across the region, roughly the same thing. We've got this nice little ridge here. We've got some good warm temperatures, but things are about to change. Skywatch Storm Tracker, nothing on it. We got to zoom out. If you look down here to the southeast, you can see those showers and some of those clouds that we saw earlier this morning. They have since gone away. What we're going to have to deal with is a ridge that's building out here in the desert southwest, and it's going to eventually make its way into our area. So here's what we are looking at. We talked about this earlier, but just a quick recap. We got another nice day today. The heat and humidity are going to return this week. In fact, they're going to be here roughly in about 48 hours or so. And then rain and storm chances are also going to increase with that heat and humidity increase, especially as we go into, unfortunately, the holiday weekend. I know it's a long weekend for a lot of folks. Check out these temperatures, though, that we've seen since 10 o'clock last night. We were pretty good, and now we're starting to heat up, and we are looking to hit close to 90 by tomorrow. And that's that heat returning. As we get through the rest of today, we're going to see a high of about 86 degrees, a little bit warmer than we were thinking this morning, but it's going to be a nice one, mostly sunny skies. Overnight tonight, it's going to cool off one more time as we dip back into the lower 60s across the board, about 64 by the time you walk out the door tomorrow morning. So let's take a look at that future track because it's going to show us some of the changes that we can expect. We're going to start the day again nice tomorrow. And then it's going to start to warm up. We're at 84 already by noon tomorrow, hitting a high again around 89, and then it's not going to cool off as much, about mid-60s for most of us. And then we get to that 7-day forecast. So let's go over this beautiful 7-day forecast. So what we've got, again, nice today, 90 tomorrow, 92 by Thursday, heat, humidity increasing. So it's not going to be nearly as pleasant. And then check out the overnight lows, too. They're starting to go up. That's about 10 degrees warmer than what we've seen over the last couple of days. And then we hit Friday. Very low-end chance of maybe an isolated storm here or there. But by the time we get into Saturday and Sunday, those storm chances do increase. Now, at this time, we're not looking at anything severe yet, but there is always the possibility. You want to keep an eye on the forecast. And then we're going to head into the holiday weekend. And this is where it gets a little bit tough. See, 4th of July is on Monday. We are watching it right now. The computer models are telling us that we may see some showers and thunderstorms on Monday, but they should be confined to the early part of the day and should be out of here by 4 or 5 o'clock for those of us who actually do see rain. Not everybody's even going to see rain that day. So hopefully they're out of here before the 4th of July festivities get started, but of course it is the 4 states that can change at a moment's notice, so make sure you stay with Nick and Doug, and they will keep you updated as we get closer.
Well, I'm happy today's going to be nice. I may have to take a walk and, you know, enjoy it before we get rain later this week or the chance of us getting rain later this week.
Last low humidity day we've got before it starts to creep back in here again, so. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we don't have any rain come the 4th of July.
I hope not.
All right. Thank you, Chris. We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Jack Kosaert. Third Petty Officer Kosaert served in the Navy. He served active duty from 1966 to 1968 and was stationed at USS Lindenwold and USS Wood County. A native of Columbus, we thank you today's 4-state hero, Jack Kosaert. Today, Howard is showing us a new and interesting way to cook up some zucchini in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Ah, zucchini. It may seem just like any other vegetable, but there's so much more to it. First of all, zucchini is probably the easiest vegetable for us to grow in our gardens. Now, for those of us who grow them, we know that before long we'll be inundated with them and we'll find ourselves sharing them with our neighbors and bringing them to the office. And with them being so abundant, it's a darn good thing that they're so good for us. You know, 1 cup of zucchini has only 25 calories and is packed with more potassium than this banana. So let me share a way to turn these into a mouth-watering side dish. We start by sauteing some cut-up tomatoes in a bit of olive oil, along with a touch of minced garlic, fresh chopped parsley, and lots of spices. Once it cooks down, we stir in some zucchini that we've chunked up. And when it's tender, it's ready to serve as a healthy as can be side dish. No matter how you serve it, we know you'll be scraping the bowl so you don't miss a drop. To get the recipe for our all-star zucchini, all you have to do is go online before all that zucchini takes over your house. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a fresh from the garden way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
Taking a look at the 7-day forecast, we have a nice day for us today, heading high about 85, 86, warming up tomorrow and through the holiday weekend. But with the warm up comes a humidity increase and an increase for storm chances, including on the 4th of July. But right now, those storms should be early in the day, so evening festivities should be all right.
That's good news.
Yeah, as long as, you know, we can still go out at night, light the fireworks with the family and whatnot.
Exactly.
Should be a good day. All right, Dal, what do you have for us?
A lot coming up at 5. Scientists blame climate change for driving more frequent and intense heat waves. We're going to have the latest on a new study. Plus, voter turnout for Oklahoma primaries as residents head to the polls to choose candidates for various races. And Carthage officials break ground on a second development of senior villas, which provides affordable housing for senior citizens. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. To watch the January 6th hearing, switch over to Fox 14, and we'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.